He's the only person that's over like 100 and some odd billion. Like, like what?
Bezos.
And he doesn't pay taxes?
It's literally if you made 180,000 a day from the time Earth started to 2020, you still wouldn't equal his value.
Come on! And today we have our very first guest on the show, Antonio, Rookie of the Year for 2018 of Remax New England.
Hello. That's my brother right there. That's my brother right there. What'd you do to get him so cranked up?
Hey,
Tony
everybody.
G. Tony G in the house has had an incredible career in real estate so far. Talk about what you've done to accomplish some of the things you've accomplished, and
Yeah.
I mean, you're totally crushing it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
So one of the big reasons I did want to have Tony on the show and really dive into this, because I wanted to dive into his mindset in 2018. He got top 40 under 40. He did 67 transaction sides. He did almost 15 million in volume.
I think he did almost 16 million, to be honest.
Yeah, and also he reached Platinum Club, and it's just like, all right, what the hell did you do in order to do this? And I lived with him for part of that year, and let me tell you, it was hell. It was hell. There was just so much sacrifice that went into it.
A lot of sacrifice.
Tony was on his computer at 11:15 at night while I'm playing like Call of Duty, and then at 7 in the morning he's back on there like in the dining room. Okay, because there was no designated office.
No.
So I'm like waking up at like 8:30 or 9. I'm like, yo, what's good? I'm gonna go to the gym, and he's like, okay. You know what I mean? That same year, he also decided to get sober. So he was like sober for 6 months. He did a juice cleanse and like some crazy stuff.
Oh wait, was that when you did what did you do? You only drink water for
Yeah,
like
what
3 weeks.
can I ask you about that?
Okay.
What was the 6 month? There was a 6 month period where you literally were like trying to turn your body into a machine, I think.
Obviously, I'm a little crazy.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Nah,
Yeah, no,
didn't know that.
The water thing you're talking about is I ingested nothing but water for 8 days.
Is that how long you made it? Was 8 days?
Yeah.
Is that healthy?
And I could have kept going, but I gotta say, at a certain point, you're just done.
And it wasn't just to test.
You didn't eat food for 8 days, dude.
Probably the weirdest thing though, and this still, like, you know, people wear their Fitbits and stuff and they monitor their like resting heart rate. I was like 80 to 90.
That's
it was
high.
pretty high. After 8 days of drinking only water, I was 50s, 60s, and I am still.
Come on.
And it's a year or two later.
Wow.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah, so I forever lowered my, what is that, your metabolic rate?
Well,
by doing
your
that.
resting heart rate.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know that marathon runners are supposed to be in the 50s, like just because.
Yeah, I mean, I when I first realized like how big of a change it was, like I was like, wait, you know, you wake up at night and I still have my monitor on. I'd be like, oh, I'm in the 40s, but I'm still there. You know, I mean, I'm in the 60s, I think, most of the time. But when I sleep and stuff, I wake up, I'll be 55 or.
Yeah.
But for, you know, I mean, it's a lot lower than it's ever been my whole life.
So, not to get too much into that, what other kind of changes did you see in your body aside from that?
Dude.
And what was the 8 days like?
Didn't you
Going
tell me that you were
crazy?
having some weird dreams and stuff?
Like, not to get super weird, but it's like a little spiritual.
I believe it.
Very much like you know, mortality is kind of on the front of the brain. That you're human and you're alive and you're here, and you know, you have a lot of time to think because you're not eating and you're not really doing too much.
Because you don't want
have no
your
energy.
body to shut down.
Yeah.
I was really stupid. I probably would have made it a lot longer, but I was so dumb. I kept working out like normal, like the first 3 days in.
Oh, yeah. Horrible idea, probably.
That burns a lot of energy,
Yeah.
a lot of
And then I
fats.
got really sick.
Yeah.
And it's because I was working out. I read about it. And
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
like you can't
You
be
were
doing that shit.
overexerting yourself with no intake.
How
Right.
did it
And
affect
also
real
I-
estate? Were you still just rocking?
It's almost like as if, you know, like you're sick and you're just doing like the must in person.
Yeah, the bare minimums.
Yeah. But anyways, so I found a little trick, and what you do is first thing in the morning, if anyone tries to do this, you obviously, no one needs to do this, but if you want to, you first glass of water, because you're drinking a lot of water. Your first glass of water of the day, you just put a little bit of salt in it, and that really helps.
It's like electrolytes from something?
0 to 100 difference. Like,
Really?
you feel that so much better. Just have some salt. And I don't know why that is. I learned much less than I probably should have before doing something like that.
I'm gonna try and not eat food for 2 weeks and see how it goes.
I lost like 30 pounds.
Bet you did.
And like I said, the biggest win though I think is just my resting heart rate.
Almost half of what it was.
30 beats per minute less.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
literally almost half.
So in conclusion, it worked for you, and you got through it.
I thought it was really cool. I think I will do it again.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, not a lot. I don't want to suggest anyone do it regularly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of a reset. You're and the whole reason I did it was I've struggled with heartburn and stuff for a long time. It was before my 21st birthday. I actually stayed in my 21st birthday thinking I was having a heart attack. This is my first real bout with heartburn.
Oh, I remember you had a heart thing. Was that what triggered this last year? I remember you and Joe were
no.
you were freaking
No,
out.
that was later on.
What was that?
No,
was that after the fact?
That was more recent. That was when I decided to really hire people because I had what's called a panic attack. That's a different thing.
Oh yeah, you were stressing because of all the work and stuff.
Well, you know.
Well, it's overwhelming.
Real estate transactions are stressful enough,
well,
and you can only operate at that level for so long.
Right.
Hard to disconnect.
Before the stress gets to you.
The meteor starts shaking apart.
67 transactions. You're dealing with 60 to 120
families.
People, right? Because sometimes they're not always single. They have a significant other or a parent that's involved or whatever.
And those agents,
and then you're dealing with
and closing
you're
companies.
dealing with 70 other realtors, 70 other appraisers.
The most amazing thing is though that it was your second year, your first full year. I think that's what's really amazing because you get more efficient. I put in less hours for more money right now. Have the transactions kind of to a T as far as timelines and breaking down contracts and stuff. And
you spend less time
you just know what's up.
Yeah,
like you figure out what you're wasting time on. Like in those first 2 years, there's so much like non-money producing stuff that I wasted time on.
You're spinning your wheels.
It's so
just
bad.
Thinking and trying to plan and map this out and figure out how to coordinate everything, and it takes you so long because you have no idea how to do it.
Yeah, so for you to do 67 in that point in your career is more like doing 150 for someone who's like in their 10th year.
Yeah, I did 61 the year after, and I'll tell you, it felt like I did
easier.
30.
Right.
And it's just because I'd done it before.
Yeah.
And I had the connections and the systems in place.
Right.
Because your first time doing it, you're kind of blazing all those trails.
Yeah.
Expediting things and learning about what to worry about. There's so much input coming in one end that
you have to disregard.
You really
a lot
have
of it.
to filter. Like you have to realize like what's an actual
that doesn't
problem.
matter. That doesn't matter.
And
That
what's
doesn't
not
matter.
a problem.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
And you have to take the emotion out of it. That's
Dude,
the
you have
biggest
to emotionally
thing.
disconnect.
That
and I
is
catch
the
myself
thing that
doing this.
It's not
if
even
you go
that.
on the ride with everybody, it's a lot.
That's what frustrates me the most is the other realtors who are so emotionally involved, and it's like, listen, if the
they do
deal
5 a
blows
year.
up,
Yeah.
right? If the deal, well, they're like, I need this one $5,000 commission to, and I get it. Like, hey, maybe it's not your full time gig. Like,
Personally
listen, like,
hurt over your client's response.
It's not even always the client. Sometimes it's just the way circumstances pan out during the transaction. There's nothing you can do. Hey, sometimes deals just die and they're just not meant to stay together. They call you up and they're like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" And I'm like, "Sell another one."
Buying the house
Guys,
for 'em.
guys, you have to admit it does help to be comfortable financially.
It does.
Like I can tell by a long shot the realtors I run into who financially are month to month.
They bang on every single closing.
It kind of reeks off of them a little bit. I hate to say it, but it's true.
It's true.
And the realtors who are not financially month to month
don't care.
You can it's not don't care. They're just
much more relaxed.
There's a certain level of confidence, and it's not about commission at that point. It's just about doing the next deal.
You handle problems better if it's not your only problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you have 5 transactions, you're gonna have upwards of 3 problems that feel like the end of the world at any given time. And if you have one deal going on, you're following it around like it's your only baby.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point too.
And it's
That
like
point.
either you're doing a lot of real estate or you're not. But if you're not, each deal is like you're trying to dunk it and you're not passing to anybody.
So I really wanted to dive into what your mindset and what your motivation was.
That year?
I'm your brother. I feel like I know you super well, but what was your motivation that made it click in order to do that? Like, did you open up a can of worms and you're like, wow, money-wise, or was it just you could see that you could do it, or you wanted to prove it to yourself?
I did make a personal decision to just do, like, okay, let's find out how much I can do, you know?
Okay.
Like, I
Test the
just
waters,
done
push
my,
your limits.
Yeah, I did 20 or 21 or something, my first
Year.
partial year. I was licensed, and then I closed my first one, like, the very end of April that year.
Yep.
And I just about run out of money, too, you know? Like,
Oh, yeah. I remember you you turned to me one day and you go, Matt, I need to get a
I'm like, I'm gonna start shoveling snow or something because all these deals are falling
Tony's
apart.
like,
I'm under contract.
I'm working 60 hours a week and I'm not making any money, Matt. So what the is going on here?
I also had big doubts that any of those
first
deals
couple
were gonna
months are
close.
tough, too,
I'm like,
though.
all these are gonna fall apart.
Yeah, it feels like that, right?
I went into real estate with like 10 grand, and by the time the first closing came, I had nothing. And I'm like, okay, I have to pay my mortgage next month. Like,
You're like,
what are we gonna do here?
Yeah.
And then you just kind of get into the process, and you start getting, one or two deals every month until you gradually,
the money
expand
starts flowing
from there.
in. It's
It takes
like any
a long,
business.
long
Right.
time to
Right.
get that thing moving.
Yeah. Once the business is running and then the cash flow is coming in, it feels a lot better.
I knew that most businesses, like, they always say, like, they're not profitable for 2 years or all that stuff. And I'm like, well, here I am. I did my first year, and I'm in the positive. I'm feeling good. Not by far. It takes a lot of bridge money to get through what we're like that desert to your first closings.
Right.
You max out some credit cards, take some loans out.
I was in debt, I didn't have a ton of money, but I somehow miraculously end of the year, paid my taxes and I was doing okay. Now I have this money that I can either be happy and, ring the bell and go home happy and like keep doing the same thing, or I can pour all this profit that I have. I could probably throw an extra $10,000, $20,000 this year at advertising.
Yeah.
So I can do more.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking back to all my old bosses, and they all had successful businesses. They'd always, call poverty and say that they spent all their money on reinvesting in their own business. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just going to make sure that I always have like leads to work and people to run and gun. And so I'm just like, let's just give it one year and see how well I can do. And, I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. I was perfect it was just the perfect life situation to really rip it. And I'm like, hey, if I really rip it, then maybe I can buy some, investments so I don't have to rip it so hard.
Some passive income.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It
got a
was
nice
it was
little
basically
four-family.
like a huge building setup year.
It was like, hey, I want to buy a multifamily and I want to establish myself, and right now the market's good. It's the time to do it.
2018 was a great year.
And I kept thinking, it's so crazy with this COVID thing, even though, truthfully, like, real estate's still popping. But I kind of always, like, had this rain day in the future in the back of my mind. I was like, better do it now. Do it now while I have the nerve and while the market's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I remember everyone chirping in my ear, especially in 2018. Oh, the market is so good. No one's ever seen it like this. That's the reason why, you're doing well, like hinting at that kind of. And I was just like, whatever. But I know that the market goes in like these 10-year cycles. I mean, there's always a market crash like every 8 to 10 years. If you look back, there's always something. There's the .com, there's the housing crisis, and now we're in the world pandemic. Every time those old school dinosaur agents were chirping that in my ear, I just felt like they were jelly. They were peanut butter
totally
and
are.
jealous.
They totally are.
I
though.
remember Tony interviewed with one. I'm not going to name drop any. It literally said, your brother, so he mentions me. So I'm already in the game, right? She goes, well, your brother's only doing okay independently because the market is better than we've ever seen it before. And Tony was like, geez, all right. Like, what the fuck?
Well, they definitely, like, call down your success, like, big time.
Yeah.
And I'm in there, I'm like, okay, one, this isn't how you win me.
No.
Yeah, right?
And two,
Talk about the brother.
Yeah.
Like,
Smooth.
they
wow.
showed
idea.
up, they showed up 20 minutes late for their meeting with me. On my brother's success that I told him about, and then we're telling me that I could never sell real estate without them, and I'm just like, all right. It's like,
What?
Yeah.
Hold on.
It was the
I need to know who this
interview
is.
from hell.
I'll tell you.
We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
Just cut it out. Okay.
But anyway, so
No, actually.
Oh, wow.
so anyway though, I interviewed with another team. I interviewed with that person obviously today, and then I met Joe, and I'm just like, dude,
this
the
was
guy.
before you even really started.
I was just licensed.
Oh, okay.
I was
so you were
licensed
looking
and
to
interviewing.
and then you met our guy, and that was a wrap.
Yeah, cracked a deal with Joe to get Matt there.
I knew that I didn't want you to come over to the small mom and pop brokerage because I knew I was planning my exit there.
Yeah.
So I was like, why don't you interview with everybody? Find out what the best deal is. And then I jumped ship with you as a collaborative
I went
effort.
everywhere but KW because my girlfriend was working as like my ex-girlfriend, ugly breakup, was working as a front desk girl
Thank you for
at
clarifying.
KW or something.
Oh, really?
And so I interviewed everywhere except for KW. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
Joe's the man, dude. I want to work here.
Yeah,
And
I do like being able to
but-
go to the office and seeing our crew over there.
Yeah, I
for
want
sure.
a direct line.
Yeah.
And that's what I was promised, and that's totally what I got. And
Yeah.
I just felt comfortable, like, really ripping it. Hey, because, hey, man, you can get into trouble in real estate. Like, let's be
Oh,
honest.
yeah.
You can get into hot water real fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's nice
you're
to have
playing
that
with
backing.
Big transactions, big money, decisions that you really, really, really influence. I make decisions for my clients all the time. You know what I mean? That's why they hired me to represent them.
Advising.
You know, you're
Goes
advising
far.
people in their first
Big
real
purchase.
life, big time. Like, I mean,
Investment.
this is how the average family saves money. They buy a house.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only reason why anyone has any net worth at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Welcome to America, right?
Yep.
So, you know, you're playing with some big, chess pieces here in people's lives. So it's like
It's important. It's
I wanted
important
someone
steps.
like Joe who's like, hey, man, at the end of the day, like, we can always help you out.
Sometimes I think it's a very big problem.
Yeah, but he like.
I think
talks
I'm
you
in a
down
little
off
bit of
the ledge.
trouble.
But he's seen it all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
he
seen it
has.
all.
He has. I'm like, oh, I might be in some trouble, Joe. I might have like.
I remember there was one time said to me, and he says this jokingly, and has been in the game forever. Everyone
40
knows that.
years, yeah.
He goes to me and he goes, "Oh, I made a mistake today." And I'm like, "What do you do?" And he's like, I didn't make the contract contingent on them selling their house."
Oh.
And it's all. And he's like, "Guess what?" And I'm like, "What?"
They
And he's like,
accepted it.
"It's all signed." And I'm like, "Wow,
Better
that
sell
is
that
a
fucking house."
problem."
That's a big no-no.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like you got to sell that bad boy. He's
Yeah.
like,
My first transaction I was ever in on, I was double ending the deal. My first transaction ever.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it fell apart. Like I said, like we thought, end of the world, right?
Yeah.
Mentors stepped in and made it all right, and they did eventually sell. Basically, I gave the listing to another agent in our office.
Oh, okay.
After I was like done. I'm done. These people are crazy. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
We get those from time to time.
Sometimes you got to shed them,
Yeah.
cut them loose. I've actually
it's not
fired.
worth
so
it.
in my old age, I'm getting a little crabby, and I've fired too.
I've been fired a couple times.
No, I didn't get fired. I fired them.
Wait, we've never been fired. Hold on.
Yeah.
Never?
Never.
No.
Yeah, that's.
High volume, man.
I know. Tony's like trying to churn them through,
Me
and they're
and
like,
Matt fire clients, and then it's like.
Well, but that's sales, dude. That's sales. It's all about volume. Like, it's not
well,
all
dude,
gonna
there's
work out.
some
Just take a
people that
shot.
take
No,
so
I-
much energy from you, and you're just like, I can't deal with you. You're not worth the commission.
Dude,
you're
there
not
was-
worth the stress. Like,
Dude.
I have other clients that need my attention, and you're absorbing all my energy. You're stealing it all from me.
Those
like, I
people
can't
will
deal
steal
with you.
10 transactions off a year.
Yeah. And 10 years off your life.
Dude, I mean, at the end of the day, people are pretty crazy, but nothing makes people act crazier than a real estate transaction.
And money.
Right.
And money involved. Here's the thing with being a realtor. You deal with people in the most stressed times of their life.
Yeah.
They're not even the same. For 60 to 90 days, they're a completely different
Right,
person
people under
because they're
stress
like
are uglier.
so stressed out, and
Yeah.
it's like such a high. I mean, it's a big deal, obviously, right? Like, it's a big deal. So we got to take it seriously, but at the same time, they're just at
Well,
they
it can bring
operate
out-
at such a different level.
It can bring out the worst in people,
Totally.
no doubt. It's just
Perfect.
like money. It's money can bring out the worst in people.
Matt, you want one?
Sure.
Okay, 3 of this.
Y'all have one. I guess it's about that time for me. It's about that time. Well, basically, 2018 happened. You evolved from there. You did slightly less transactions in 2019. However, still very efficient.
handful, yeah.
Killing the game. 2020, huge change. Huge change. I remember when you told me about this, you said, Matt, I think I'm going to hire a full-time assistant. Then that idea faded, I think, because you got some negative feedback about it. Because there's full-time assistants are so hit or miss, from what I
Well,
understand.
I also tried a transaction coordinator, and I was like, this is a complete waste of money.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So you did 15 million?
Yeah. In volume. I didn't
It's
make
volume.
that.
Yeah.
No, right. But you did. But you charged 3 or 4% per transaction, right?
2 to 3.
Probably average 2 to 3.
I would say
$250,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sell you a Rolex.
Hacks the shit
40%
out
of your income from you.
it ends up like 30-something%, but yeah.
Like 34, 35.
Yeah.
Easily.
So you almost and they just took it from you. That's so
Yeah,
frustrating.
we're in a
Depends how
pretty
much you write off, but yeah.
we're in a pretty tax bracket.
Isn't America crazy though? Like
Yeah, but you
other
just-
countries, they just automatically do your like through your employer.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or the government just does it, right? But in America, you're like rewarded for having talented tax people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
like any other industry. It's like
because we have a convoluted tax system that's manipulatable. Like
Right.
you can manipulate shit. You can't do that in other countries.
Our president literally said, he goes, the goal is to pay less taxes. No.
well, it's like,
and
yeah,
everyone's like,
it's true.
This
Well,
is
it's
the
like
president.
this guy's
That's
company's
it.
lost money so
Yeah, but
many years in a row.
any-
It's like, yeah, no shit, he's got a good tax guy.
Oh yeah, well if anything, he's pro-business, pro-economy.
Well, yeah, he's definitely pro businesses paying less taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely
Well,
like.
and businesses employ people. Businesses keep the world
Right.
going around. You know?
Right. 100%. That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that up to the point where Amazon's like, we pay zero tax. I'm like,
Yeah.
you pay a
that's-
tax, you bitch. Like,
That's-
you
that's-
need to pay tax.
like
That's-
Jeff Bezos is just like
Bezos.
new pool.
It's
What?
literally if you made 180,000 a day
So
from the time Earth started to 2020, you still wouldn't equal his value.
Come
That's
on.
fucked up.
Shut up.
He got a
10,
divorce.
20 million a
He
month.
got a divorce
Yeah.
and he's still the richest man. If you get a divorce and you can still say you're the richest man.
You think she got whatever she asked for, but he was like, I'm only going to give you what I'm willing to. So you ask, and then my giant team of lawyers will let you know what you're okay to have.
Right?
If nothing
Do you wanna
else,
lock that?
You gotta-
from our broker, I learned don't get married.
Yeah.
Oh,
How
definitely
many
keep
realtors
that
say
in.
that?
Keep that in.
It's so
Use that
true.
as the clip.
I'm married.
Dude,
With a kid.
I thought you were doing good, but you
Dude, you're allowed to get married just with a prenup.
Go on YouTube. It's what 1 billion looks like.
This dude?
Okay, watch
This
this.
gamer dude?
Yeah, watch.
What's this gamer dude
What?
doing?
Nah, just
everyone
watch.
knows that.
Wait, it's small. What's that say?
That's a lot of money.
100,000.
It says-
100,000?
yeah, it's all
We
it
have
says.
Yeah.
Someone, there are people in the world with $1 billion, regardless. Okay. Anyways, $1 billion, that's a big fucking number. We can see that there's a lot of zeros on top of the 100,000, but we don't really feel it. You don't really feel it until you go like this. You know it's 10,000 times more, but here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 500,000. That's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 million. Okay, let's copy paste.
That's
the
all
100
100,000.
Oh,
Increments.
wow.
Yeah.
200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $1 billion, okay? And now I'm high, and I'm going to donate Soda Pop in $100,000 like this.
That is a lot of dough.
Damn.
And now we're going to try to find the money that we're missing now. Okay?
Like a needle in
It's
a
on the
haystack guy.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
It's on the right. I see it.
Ray, it's because you're the most
Right there.
interesting Ray
You
in the
saw it.
world.
It was right
Yeah,
there.
it was right there.
But it's kind of hard to feel it. If I put it somewhere in the middle, you guys probably wouldn't find it.
Must be pretty cool to be Jeff Bezos, dude.
He's got 140 of those.
He's like, yacht, the newest one? Yeah. Let's do it.
That's the thing, though. There was a study. I don't know if there's a clip you can splice in for this, but it was something about like the level of happiness with income, you know, and like $80,000 to $100,000. Like people are like at their peak happiness, like for being able to afford everything they want for their family and
Listen,
Live a
Listen,
comfortable life.
I have seen the study.
yeah.
I want
Is
to
it
find
80 to
out.
100?
I want to find out that that's not true. Like my goal is to get there and then find out. Like no, it's definitely $500,000 a year.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.